I never thought a simple chair could carry so much weight until the day it became the hardest thing to face in my life. My father's chair at the head of the dining table was more than a seat. It was a symbol of presence, of stability, of love that didn't need to be spoken. Growing up in a small suburban town in Ohio, that chair had always been his. It bore the scratches from years of leaning back, the worn edges from restless hands, the faint smell of polish mixed with old dinners. Every evening he would pull it out with that deep, familiar scrape that announced dinner was starting. That sound alone made the house feel like home, like no matter how hard the world had been, we could always return here, to this space, together. He worked long hours at the garage, grease under his fingernails, fingers often cracked and raw from tightening bolts and fixing engines. He always came home with country music softly playing from the radio in the old pickup he refused to replace. Even after the toughest days, he would pull out that chair, sit down, and talk about everything that had happened that day. Dinner wasn't just about food, it was about connection, about presence, about reminding us that no matter what the world threw at us, the family was here. That chair anchored us, a silent, steadfast declaration that we mattered, that home existed, that love didn't always need words. The first time I truly noticed the chair was the night I graduated high school. We had a small party at home, just family and a few neighbours. Dad pulled out the chair as usual, and everyone's eyes seemed to follow him, almost unconsciously. There was something reassuring about the way he sat there, the way his hands rested on the table, the faint creak as he shifted his weight. I never really thought about it then, but looking back, I realised that chair had been holding not just him, but all of us, our family, our sense of security, our childhood. The last time I saw him in that chair, we argued. I was 23, excited and nervous about moving across the country for a job I had dreamed of for years. "It's Seattle," I said. He didn't immediately respond. He just looked at me quietly, the disappointment in his eyes plain but unspoken. "You always run," he said softly. That phrase haunted me. I tried to justify myself, to say that I wasn't running, that I was chasing my own life. But his silence, the way he shifted in that chair, the faint groan of the wood under his weight, it spoke louder than any words. I shrugged, thinking I understood independence, thinking I was brave. I was only impatient. 3 weeks later, I was on a plane. My phone rang at 5:12 a.m. It was my mum, her voice trembling as she delivered the words I wasn't ready for. He had a stroke. My father, the man whose presence had been the centre of every meal, the centre of our family, was gone. Just like that, the chair at the head of the table became empty. Coming home for the funeral, the house smelled the same, the table looked the same, but the seat at the head was hauntingly vacant. Mum and I ate quietly. We didn't speak. The air was heavy with unspoken grief. There was no scrape of wood against tile, no laughter, no passing of mashed potatoes or side dishes, just silence. I realised in that moment how much that chair had carried, not just his presence, but the invisible threads of love and security that tied our family together. Over the next few years, the chair became more than wood and scratches. It became a mirror for regrets. I kept replaying our last argument. I wished I had told him I understood. I wished I had apologised for being impatient. I wished I had hugged him that last night. The chair reminded me daily that life can change in an instant, that pride can steal moments we can never get back. It reminded me that love, even when quiet, is always loud when it's gone. One winter, I stayed at home for a week. One night, I wandered into the kitchen around midnight and found Mum sitting in the chair. Her hands traced the grooves in the wood, her eyes distant, focused on memories only she could see. "I can still hear him," she whispered. The way he cleared his throat before speaking, the way he tapped the table when he was thinking. She looked so small in that chair, like the weight of it and of all the memories made her tiny, fragile, human. And in that moment, I understood. The chair wasn't denial. It wasn't stubborn grief. It was ritual. It was a way to keep him close, to honour him, to survive without him. A few years later, my nephew, barely 5, climbed into that chair during Christmas. Everyone froze. Mum's eyes welled up instantly. I instinctively moved to stop him, but she whispered, "Let him." That night, I realised the chair was not a shrine. It was memory made physical. It was a way to carry forward the love and lessons my father had given us. Wood does not hold a soul, but memories do, in ways you only recognise when the person is gone. I sat there for a while, letting the creak of the chair under my weight bring back pieces of him. The laugh when someone told a bad joke, the gentle reprimand when someone argued, the quiet pride in the way he watched us grow. Now, in my own home, I bought a dining table with an extra chair at the head. Some nights I sit there, not because I am trying to replace him, not because I want to pretend he is there, but because I finally understand what that seat meant. It represented responsibility, presence, love, and quiet authority. Every scrape of wood on tile, every creak from settling joints, every memory of laughter, advice, or gentle discipline reminds me of him. That chair, once empty, is now filled with what he gave us. The love that shaped me, the patience that grounded me, the example I try to carry forward. Sometimes I hear the faint sound of scraping wood in my memory, and for a moment it feels like he's still here. I imagine him pulling out that chair, sitting down and quietly watching us, smiling, proud. That chair taught me to cherish the people I love, to speak when it matters, to forgive faster, to hug tighter, to linger at the table a little longer. Life is short, and the moments we waste thinking we have time are moments that will never return. If you have an empty chair in your home tonight, don't ignore it. Sit in it. Speak into it. Listen to the silence. Let it remind you of the people you love, of the lessons they taught you, of the unspoken love that still lingers. Grief isn't just about absence. Grief is about honouring what remains, carrying it forward, and letting it shape your life. One day, the quietest seat in the room might be the one you miss the most. And when that day comes, you'll wish you had listened, loved, and been present while you still could. Remember, love leaves traces in places we often overlook. A chair, a sound, a gesture, a glance. The empty chair isn't empty if we let it teach us, guide us, and remind us of the quietest, most powerful lessons about life, family, and love. And sometimes, sitting in it is the only way to truly feel them.